And everybody would be doing that, and so it would just be normal. That's rough.
Just got yours close.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking that she looks a lot like Barbara.
Very safer.
Right. She's pretty much Barbara. She's dead.
Right now she
do other than Tyler, or did you stay at home? And how'd you get your Not that we were doing that going on, but I'm just glad you already know about it, because I always feel like what makes people that are definitive, like I want to talk to them. Yeah. Yeah.
Your whole entire party area showed completely ignore everybody. There's no one here.
Better? A little bit?
They're probably going to do it. Oh wait, Trump isn't going to do it for him. And I'm going to have to, still be in politics after he's gone. What's the future of our party going to look like when he's done? I think, yeah, because Trump is, look, all of these guys, like J.D. Vance is a loser. Nobody likes him. Nobody likes Marco Rubio. He's the Secretary of State. Nobody likes Ron DeSantis outside of Florida. Like, the Republican Party doesn't know because he's just going to lose. They took over the party. Now the whole party is just about him. Full of a bunch of fabulous losers like Chuck Schumer, who have absolutely no drive to do anything to change anything. Democrats after he's done with that, I think they're probably going to try to just the Democrats are going to try to, they're not going to hold anybody accountable, prosecute anybody. They're just going to try to move the law. Prop up again. They don't want to set a precedent that they don't hold anybody accountable. They don't want to hold the president that they're
That's just, I feel like you're saying, and I feel like they can't, even right now, properly. It's like, you're just letting them do whatever they want with it. Without enforcing the proper. It's literally just a room.
They're trying to, I don't know, they're like, to some extent, that's the kind of thing that creates monsters of Peloton, ultimately.
So we have to try to put a property on this cause.
right, at this time, we are reconvening into open session at 6:49 p.m. Having taken no action on this subject matter in executive session. So we're going to move on to item number 4. Discuss and act on authorizing Police Chief Jeff Bragg to execute a memorandum of agreement authorizing and entering into 287G task force model. This was tabled last month because we needed some more information from our city attorney, and we've been able to speak with him, and our police chief has met with some of the locals and been able to discuss it also this morning. I have several cards here, so I just ask, first of all, if someone says something that you're going to say that's satisfactory, and then we will have a 3-minute timer, and I'll just call them. I don't have any certain order. I'm just going to call them along the way. And you will come up and say your name and address for the council and for the record. So, what you trying to scare me? Yeah, I did. All right. So I have Jose Jimenez. You will come up here to the podium.
I'm Jose Jimenez. I've been in Bullard for the last 18, 20 years. I live in Brentwood Drive, 111.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Brentwood Drive, left 111, Brentwood Drive. Some of you might know me. I've worked just about in everybody's house. We used to be a community, small. It has grown so much, and we're happy that it has grown the way it has. But I have seen a lot of family members, friends, even friends, and I don't think it's right. I got my little daughter, my wife, the rest of my family. The schools are actually now suffering bullying because they're either Hispanic or from a different country. So I'm not much of a talker. There's a lot of feelings, but y'all can tell them my words. I just don't think we need to do something like that for harass citizens. We're a community. I just invite you to actually read the Constitution. We sit here and pledge to the flag, and we violate a lot of rights. So just take that into consideration. That's all I got.
I will ask that you not clap under each bill because we'll have to move pretty quickly, just so everybody gets to say their comments. I have Juan, and forgive me if I mispronounce your name, I'm trying. Juan versus. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Juan Vinces. I've been a citizen here in Bullard for my whole life. I live at 308 Brentwood Drive.
I'm sorry, what was the first number?
308.
308. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all city council members for letting me speak today. I feel like we shouldn't do this. My father was taken June 10th at between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. And ever since then, it has drastically changed my life. I have had to quit football, join the early release program to help provide for my mom, and run and operate my father's lawn care business. And I have to leave school early sometimes to provide the lawn services to my father's clients, and that ranges anywhere from 30 to 35 yards. a week. And I feel like no 17-year-old, and I hope no 17-year-old ever has to go through this much stress in their life. Thank you.
Esvaldo Gales? Okay. Sorry.
Mayor Cole, thank you very much for having me. Distinguished members of the City Council, thank you very much for opening the doors for us to hear our voices. I come up here with a tear in my eye. Osvaldo Galas, Mineola, Texas, man.
And what's your
At
address?
209 Crown Street. I come up here with a tear in my eye. I don't know the young man, but I cry for him. I cry for his plight. I was told it was the worst of the worst, and that's not the worst of the worst. I'm shaking, because it drives me deep that we're considering, under pretty words, 287G equals, let me profile you because of the color of your skin. Let me do something that I normally wouldn't do. It's what's happening. And those pretty words we have to erase, because that's exactly what's happening. Our communities are strong. I've been here 41 years in Mineola, Texas. I'm a first-generation immigrant. My mother and my grandmother worked a dairy farm. At 10 years old, I would go get the cows so they could milk them. In the evening, I would wrap them up again. That's what I would do. That's my back. That's my history. I work in this community. I'm an official. I'm a softball official. And I see a lot of people, my white brethren, my black brethren, my Hispanic brethren. I see them all together. Let's don't get influenced by the media and what's coming from above. And with all due respect, Mr. Elders, you said nobody's above the law. I want to believe that, but we might want to revise those words, because our president, whose agenda is this, is coming down and is trickling into our societies. It's trickling down to the root of our hearts, and that's not where we're at. That's not what we do. That's not who we are. I've been a part of peaceful protest because this is not right. I was the first Hispanic family in Mineola, Texas, and I haven't had to do this for 41 years until now. And I'm speaking here because it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from where we're at. I see so many people going to church with their shirts, with their dresses, looking pretty. Please do. We're God-fearing Christians ourselves. And I can tell you, I've been indoctrinated by the flag and justice for all. Let's just don't think of who all is. Is it just white people? Is it just brown people? Is it just black people? Who is all? And when we say in God we trust, I'll leave you with this. Do we? Do we? With all due respect, Mr. Elders, you said that we have to finish your statement. Yes? You finish your statement. With all due respect, sorry, I've had what I'd like to say. Thank you so much. Please take my words into consideration.
Thank you. I have Kristen Harden Sigler.
Good job, man.
Good evening. I'm Kristen Harden Stickler. I am your neighbors in White House. I'm at 810 Blackbird Way. I am the president of Smith County Young Democrats. I'm an activist, and I am a hobby historian. And as such, I would like to tell you a little bit about Reserve Police Battalion 101. Reserve Police Battalion 101 was a group of ordinary uniformed police officers that was organized by the Order Police in 1939 in Germany. They served under the Ordered Police and were deputized to do the bidding of the federal government, which began with the detaining of Polish citizens in newly German-occupied Poland. In 1940, they began mass deportations of Polish citizens, Romanians, and Jews the orders of the federal government. By 1942, Reserve Police Battalion 101 was participating in mass extermination of the Polish and Jewish folks that they had previously rounded up. It is very obvious to us now that these individuals who were conscripted into order police were active participants in genocide. That they were firmly situated on the wrong side of history. But as you can see, it didn't start that way. It started by accepting and following the status quo, by following orders. There's no clear reason for Bullard PD to adopt 287G. Not when both Smith County and now Cherokee County have accepted this model. I do not want to remember Bullard as complicit when this administration is held accountable for their actions. You have a choice to be situated firmly on either the right or wrong side of history. I respectfully request that you reject the 287G task force model and refuse to entertain any further consideration regarding immigration enforcement locally. Thank you.
Delilah Reynoso? Delilah? Oh, sorry.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council member. My name is Delilah Reynoso. I'm here speaking on behalf of myself and the organization Texas Jail Project. We are strongly,
Yeah.
Smith County.
Your address.
I don't want to give my address public. I can give it to you
I'm
after.
sorry, that's a requirement.
Yes.
So,
Can I write it down, just to announce and say my?
well, it's gonna be
It has to go on
a matter of
record.
public record.
Yeah, I have no issues doing that, but I don't want to say public. I've spoken at
It'll
other.
still be a matter of public record. Anybody that wants to can request it.
Yeah, I
And
do
then if
not.
you don't wanna speak, that's okay, but are you
Can I
here?
see the rules then, and where it says that I have to give,
You can say it
announce
afterwards, I'm
my
not gonna give you
address?
the rules right now.
Where are the rules at? Can I get a copy of the rules?
You can after the meeting.
Okay, so can I go ahead and move forward with my public comment?
If you provide your address, and you
I
can
do
write it
not,
down.
sir, I don't
You can
feel-
provide it, you can write it down and provide it to the city
I can write it
clerk.
down, I have no issues writing down my
Write
address.
it down and hand it to the city clerk, okay? City secretary.
Once you give it to me, that becomes a public record.
Which I have no issues with that, but you want me to publicly say my address, I will not do that.
Are you speaking on behalf of Texas Jail Project, or are you speaking individually?
Both. So can I reclaim my time?
I stopped at the moment.
Thank you.
Just Texas Jail Project, is that what you said?
Yes, Texas Jail Project, yes, ma'am. We are strongly opposed to 287G task force model, which allows officers trained by ICE to enforce immigration laws during routine traffic violations. We have seen the effects of this program in Smith County already. SB 8 passed this past legislation session. Specifically, only mandates sheriffs in county with a population of 100,000 or more to enter into a written agreement with immigration under the section of 287G of the federal immigration. Our organization has seen firsthand the civil rights violation and the cruel, inhumane separation of our immigrant community members like Mr. Joaquin, where there was an alleged traffic violation that led to a rapid deportation proceeding without due process, which is a constitutionally guaranteed to everyone. According to the Texas Policy Research, and I quote, by authorizing local officers to perform certain federal immigration functions under the 287G agreements, it increases the risk of civil liberty violation, especially wrongful detentions, racial profiling, a denial of due process rights, the lack of statutory safeguards to protect individuals against misuse of enforcement of authority without uniform rights or legal recourse. This remains a possibility of the Constitution's overreach that both can impact both non-citizens and citizen alike. What does this mean for Bullard to increase the liability due to the risk of civil lawsuits due to racial profiling and other liberties violations? Thank you, Delilah Reynoso.
Maria, I still have not been able to pronounce your name right.
It's okay,
as long as
don't
I
worry
know
about
you.
it. Thank you for having me. My name is Maria Gobea. I reside at 1514 Bovado in Jacksonville. I'm here tonight to ask for y'all not to pass this. I don't even know what to even call it. To not pass it. My father was taken away back on June 10th, as my brother said, and it has affected my family in more ways than I can explain. It has affected my mom drastically. It has affected my brothers a lot. I have 3 kids, one who hasn't even met my father in person. He met him through a glass window. And my 2 older kids are always asking for their grandfather. And I have a fear in the back of my head that maybe they won't see my dad ever again, and that is something that I don't want to happen. But the paper that I have given y'all, that same day that my father got pulled over, it said, according to my dad's incident report written by a patrol deputy, and I quote, "I was to develop probable cause to make a traffic on the truck that my father was driving. I called the lieutenant to respond to the scene of the traffic stop. When he arrived, he assumed command and spoke to Joaquin. A short later, Homeland Security investigators arrived and arrested my father." He's been there for 5 months in the detention center, and I would just really appreciate y'all if y'all didn't continue with this. And that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Anwar Khalid.
I'm Anwar Khalifa. I reside at 5704 Churchill Drive, Tyler, Texas. So, y'all are wanting to pass or include yourselves in the task force model of 287G program. So, I talked to other chiefs of police, one, on my way here, and asked them, why didn't you adopt this model? Why didn't your city adopt this model? He goes, because it teaches, they're training our officers to identify, apprehend, and process anyone they think may be here illegally. That's in the agreement. So, if you're going to be identifying, how are you going to identify it? So why do y'all even want to be involved in this? Let me tell you the economic impact on this, okay? I'm a home builder. I only build 6 homes a year when I normally build 20 to 25, okay? I sold some homes and started some. Then I started getting called, oh, we can't get a crew out. Why? Smith County, ICE. Talk to other builders, having the exact same problem. Hoteliers, landscapers, restaurant owners. So if you want the city of Bullard to be known to be more exclusive with less housing, more expensive restaurants, more expensive hotel rooms, then this is the message this is what you will do by passing this. Thank y'all for your time.
Emily Pinal.
287G represent inhumane models of immigration enforcement that cause deep and lasting harm in our communities. The trauma of family separation leaves wounds that echo across generations and shapes the lives of American children who grew up without stability. Under the current administration, there is no meaningful accountability for ICE. The agency continues to engage in practices that residents experience as racially targeted and intimidating, all funded by us taxpayers. In East Texas, local law enforcement budgets are already bloated, and there is no demonstrated need for police to take on better mitigation duties. Any partnership would not make our community safer. Instead, it would pull resources away from real public safety issues that require urgent attention, including unsolved homicide in our backyards and the need for stronger community investment. Expanding harmful immigration enforcement only increases fear, separates families, and weakens trust between residents and institutions that are meant to represent them, just like you all. Community members and civil rights advocates have already raised repeated concerns about racial profiling by Bullard police, even without a 287G agreement in place. Residents have reported disproportionate traffic stops. If these issues are being raised now without any formal partnership with ICE, it is reasonable for the public to fear that 287G would intensify these patterns and lead to even greater harm. Despite these challenges, immigrant families continue to support and sustain East Texas. As the gentleman before mentioned, they work in plant farms, arborists, construction, and many other industries that keep our region functioning and growing. Their value is not defined by the labor they perform, but by their humanity. We're all humans here. They are our neighbors, our friends, and our families. They deserve dignity, respect, and full protection under the law. For these reasons, the community calls on the city to reject any 287G agreement and to commit instead to policies that strengthen public safety, protect civil rights, and build trust rather than fear.
Christian Wright.
Mayor, council members, my name is Christian Wright. I reside at 1609 South Chilton, Tyler, Texas. And I am here with other folks also representing Indivisible, an organization. First of all, I'd like to say that the Hispanic community includes a vast majority of residents who are here legally and who have often been here for decades, many of whom are U.S. citizens and many of whom vote. The way in which law enforcement agencies have been pressured nationwide to meet certain arrest and deportation targets has led in many cases to the indiscriminate arrest and detention without due process of many hardworking, tax-paying residents, including U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents. And that has led to many reports that I have heard personally of generalized fear within the Hispanic community. Alder said at this podium earlier tonight that the law is blind, but that comes across as pretty disingenuous when you see who's actually being arrested and which people in neighborhoods are being targeted. I just want the council to remember that intimidating a substantial subset of the voting community may end up being a losing prospect in the long term. And when the Hispanic community hesitates to take their kids to school, to go to the grocery store, to go to work, there are substantial knock-on negative economic effects to local businesses, some of which have been mentioned before, including the loss of customers, the loss of employees, and of substantial income. So, what I'm hoping to say is that I don't want us to give into the temptation to overbroaden whom we consider to be a criminal in our community. Hardworking, tax-paying, restaurant and store-going neighbors who mind their own business should not fear arrest. I would ask the council that, remind the council that it's not mandated for the council to enter into this agreement, and I would ask that you please do not enter into the task force model. Thank you very much.
Ines Espressita.
to know about which street?
Second Street,
Second.
Tyler, Texas.
Thank you.
I'm here to express my strong opposition to the proposed 27 agreement. We firmly believe that this agreement is unconstitutional. It violates fundamental human rights and causes serious and lasting harm to our community. The 287 program creates fear and distress between residents and local law enforcement. It brings terror to immigrant families, many of whom contribute significantly to the social, cultural, and economic well-being of our community. This agreement has potential to separate families. It destabilizes our community and undermines the value of safety, unity, and fairness that voters should strive to. Furthermore, at the time when our nation urgently needs comprehensive, humane immigration reform programs, like the 287G only worsens the problem. Instead of promoting real solutions, this agreement intensifies fears, divides communities, and distracts from the need of a federal reform that provides safe and dignified pathways for the hardworking families who are already an essential part of this community. For these reasons, we respectfully ask that you do not vote in favor of this agreement. We urge you to consider the long-term impact this decision will have on your families, children, and the future stability of our community. Voting against 287 will help preserve the peace, dignity, and safety that every family deserves. We urge you to stay with the community to protect the rights of our residents and support efforts that truly promote solutions including the national need for fair and humane immigration. I do appreciate giving me the opportunity to speak in front of you. There's so many families out there, they're suffering. They are not getting out to be able to work. There's children that will probably not have a good Christmas this year because they're being separated from their families. And it's supposed to be a joyful time of the year where all the families are united, living together as a family. And now many families separated, like they don't have their father here. I personally was affected as well when my brother-in-law was supported. And his son is not going to be with his dad. And we've seen so many cases of so many children. You know, families are getting their lives cut off. They don't have any way of paying their bills because they're not able to go out and work because they have that terror in their, just going outside of their house. Somebody knocks on the door just to deliver something and they're not able to get it. But I do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Edwards.
I'm Karen Edwards from Bullard,
279 Zambezi. Thank you.
I'm here tonight as a community member who is very concerned about our local police entering into a task force agreement with ICE and becoming in effect ICE agents. Immigration is a very complex issue, and our immigration system is less like a line to get into and more like a labyrinth to navigate. It's often a very confusing and expensive process that can take many years to complete. Many immigrants are somewhere along in the process and are trying to do things the right way. Others might not have legal options currently available to them, but they've lived here for many years, working and paying taxes and raising families. They are contributing to their communities and trying to make a better life for their children. Nationally, we've seen that ICE has not been targeting the worst of the worst, as they said they would. In fact, more than 70% of immigrants detained by ICE have no criminal background of any kind, and approximately 93% have no history of violent crime. Not having documentation is a civil offense, not a criminal one. Instead of focusing on violent criminals, ICE agents have detained Christians who are in danger of being persecuted in their home country, high school kids on their way to school, a landscaper whose son served in the U.S. Marines, pastors who've been serving their community for years, and a daycare worker with a pending asylum case who had work authorization. These are just a few examples. Human beings are often being detained in crowded and inhumane conditions without adequate access to food, water, and medical care. Even pregnant women, people with chronic health issues, and the elderly. They're often not able to communicate with lawyers or loved ones. Do we want the city of Bullard to be associated with an organization known for these kinds of abuses? I've heard of the negative effects that the task force agreement is having in Tyler. I personally talked to members of the Latino community who are hesitant to go out for fear they'll be stopped on suspicion of being undocumented. They feel under additional scrutiny, that they're under suspicion. They're reluctant to take the risk of going to ESL classes or church or community events. Some moms that I know of are keeping their children home from school or having friends take their kids to school for them. They're not able to fully participate in the community life. They're not violent criminals. They're my friends and my acquaintances. I'm concerned that entering into the agreement with ICE will lead to racial profiling and diminish trust in law enforcement. There's data that shows that civil rights violations and the resulting litigation rise significantly in jurisdictions that have the task force model. I'm also afraid it will marginalize valuable members of our community and lead to family separations and trauma, which we've heard of. I appreciate the work that the police department does to protect and serve our community, and I believe that the task force agreement would hinder and not strengthen their mission. I respectfully ask that you reconsider entering into the task force agreement, focus on making our whole community safer from serious and violent crime, instead of detaining our neighbors who are working and raising families here.
This one just says Jennifer.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm sorry, Jennifer Galarza.
Could you tell me how to spell last name?
Galarza, G-A-L-A-R-Z-A. Z as in zebra. And it's 1716 Sequoia Drive, Tyler, Texas, 75703. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Jennifer, and I'm speaking to you as a mother, a neighbor, and someone watching fear take over the community we call home. The 287 tax force model is not just a policy. It is something that is harming the mental health, safety, and daily lives of family right now. People are terrified. Hardworking men are afraid one wrong stop means they won't make it home with their children. And many of us have had the explanation to explain to the, sorry. Many of us have had to explain the fear to our kids, including why their friends have left the only country they've ever known. Our children feel this. They hear the news, they see the tension, and they're asking heartbreaking questions. This proposal has already divided us. We've seen hateful, racist comments from neighbors, essential workers, even local leaders, revealing a level of cruelty we never expected. And deep down, I believe you know this. Fear is not safety. Fear is not the law. Fear cannot build a strong community. You cannot enforce the law by destroying trust. You cannot claim to care about families while supporting something that tears them apart. I'm asking you, not only asking you, I'm begging you. As parents, as neighbors, as human beings, to choose empathy over fear and reject the 287 tax force model. Thank you for your time. Respectfully, Jennifer.
And the last card I have is for Mr. Hector Garza.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for having us here. You heard the testimony. Oh, I'm so sorry. So politically, so.
Okay. Or do you need it back or?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you for having us here tonight. You've heard from many, many of our constituents. You've heard from many of the residents here in Bullard, Tyler, and surrounding areas. I know that many departments are joining this agreement for the money. It's very lucrative. I see why they're doing it. But the ramifications and the chaos it creates to families, businesses, and communities, and lives in general is not worth it. Earlier I spoke to Chief Bragg and his staff, and I appreciate so much the insight and the time they gave us. And as honorable as their intentions may seem, it always leaves room for other officers to have error. I'm understanding that the main reason for this program is to have the technology to ID. If this were the case, then I would applaud the system. If it were used properly, then criminals can be and should be removed from our system, which I've been assured that this is the case by Chief Bragg and his staff. Do I believe the sincerity? Yes, I do. But I, for one, do not agree at all with 287G in any aspect, especially how it's being used by other departments and other communities. I do, however, agree that criminals need to be held accountable and arrested and deported. And I don't think there's anybody in this room that agrees otherwise. We need to handle that problem. Why is it being handed down from a federal level to have a local level enforce it when the federal level can't get their crap together? They're asking us to do it for them. And inadvertently, we see what it's doing to our communities. Look at Tyler, for example. But once again, time and time again, mothers, fathers, innocent bystanders, and others are being detained and deported. A staggering 70% of detainees nationwide that have been detained have no criminal records at all. That's an important fact that I want the council to understand. 70%. This is a margin of give or take 4%. So, is it really being used to deport criminals? Or is the first sentence in that line being used to, if you believe they are an illegal alien, you have the option and the power to question them and deport them? Okay? So, yet they have no criminal record at all, yet deportation is imminent. So I ask you not to bring this agreement to the city. We've seen the city of Tyler hold a press conference on this. They're seeing the division that it's causing. These Latino hands, just like many throughout history, have built this city, have upheld the law, have made your hotel beds, have cooked in your restaurants, have fought fires, and have been there for this community. And now we're taking them and we're taking them apart. In finishing, now that you've heard all this, I will ask you respectfully not to enter the 287G agreement, or at the very least, I ask you to table this another month so that you, the council, and Madam Mayor can go through the facts and all the testimony you've heard today, and then make a conscientious decision as to whether you want to go forward with this. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and I appreciate your time.
This time I would like to applaud you all.
Chief Bragg.
So we've had these discussions, you know, I've been able to sit down and talk to each one of you. We've gone over the program, gone over what it entails, and the fact that the processes of what we're looking at doing is taking advantage of new technology, new database systems,
and being able to better identify individuals without having to contact other agencies, without having to contact ICE, and without having to do different things like that to help our officers in the job they do every day. The entire department will not be sent to this training. The only two individuals that will be sent to this training are Lieutenant Gillum and Captain Hill. So the officers on the street still act and enforce state law just like they do every day and like they have the 20 years that I've been at Bullard PD. And so I appreciate everybody coming out, and I appreciate the time with Mr. Garza earlier. But again, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Otherwise, everything that we've discussed previously.
I would like you to mention, every year, we have to report to the state
Yeah.
the racial profiling that takes place in Bullard, Texas.
Yeah, racial profiling in the state of Texas has been something for many years now. It's basically a law that applies to all state officers, and we have to comply with that each and every year. We submit our report to the city council, and we submit our report timely, by the way, to TCO, Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Agency, which is our governing body that governs our licensing. And I've provided each with you for the last 3 years of that, of our racial profiling, and that's just the last 3. You can continue on, and except for COVID, there was a year or 2 right there around COVID where numbers are skewed real bad, but that's a whole, numbers were skewed all over the country during that time. But you can go back and you can look at the size of our agency, the size of our city, and the demographics, and you can look at over the course of the 20 years that I've been here, or since it's been being reported, you can see a consistent process to where we're within the guidelines that we're supposed to be under racial profiling. And at no time will we ever racial profile someone, and it just doesn't happen here in Bullard, I can tell you that. And if it does, our attorney can tell you it's not going to be good for that officer.
So Chief, this isn't going to be used as some type of profiling tool?
No, sir.
Any type of discrimination tool at all?
No.
If somebody is not being investigated for committing a crime, Class C or otherwise, are they ever going to be asked about their?
It's the policy of the Bullard Police Department not to ask for immigration, or the immigration status of an individual does not matter in the scenarios that we're working with.
So unless somebody is being investigated for committing a crime, this issue isn't going to come up in Bullard.
Correct.
And are you just lying to everybody and telling them you're going to?
No, sir.
Do you think this council would adopt this if there was any intent to profile at all?
No, sir.
Can you speak to your requirement, as you mentioned before, from a law enforcement standpoint, to identify the individual that is being in the act of committing criminal offenses?
As far as, I mean, it's required that you identify yourself if you're operating a motor vehicle on a state highway. The officers are required to get that identification, and it's up to their discretion to determine whether identification has been met or not. So, there's just processes that we can utilize to go through to get to that step, if we're in the program, without having to go through ICE.
Correct. That's the biggest part of the program that I've understood, that benefits our police department and benefits the discretion that they're allowed to present in certain situations.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to say, and I don't know, I don't live in Tyler, I don't live in White House, I live in Bullard. And I see the numbers, and I believe wholeheartedly that my Bullard Police Department would follow the law, and we have numbers that show that there is no racial profiling going on in Bullard, Texas. That's all I have to say.
Well, I'd simply like to add that I have more confidence in the Bullard Police Department protecting and enforcing the laws in our community than I do the ICE people in Washington. You know, our people live here, they have families here, they work here, and care about our community, and I have a great deal of confidence that our police department has the leadership and the moral compass to treat people right and do the right thing here.
I'll make a motion that we authorize, as the Bullard City Council, Police Chief Bragg to execute a memorandum of agreement authorizing entering into 287G task force model.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
It's nice being white, isn't it?
I hope you guys follow through.
It was literally discontinued in 2012 because it proved to be racially profiling. Multiple states.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll hold you accountable. Thank you very much for your time. Our community appreciates it.
I would vote for you guys.
Heartless bastard.
Just because we have some concerns about
Apologize for that first. I thank you for your time.